So I want to do a quick discussion on labels. I'm at a point in my life where I'm over them. I'm over labels. I am over feeling separate from everyone else. Therefore, labels are unneeded when I feel like, my work is to unite. Meaning, my thoughts are we are all one. So if I'm calling you an asshole, I'm calling myself an asshole. So therefore, labels aren't needed. Um, but we will continue to use them because that's how we live our life, that's how we communicate. But for me, it's a practice not to use them. Um, like I like to take the implications off the meanings of the words good and bad, right and wrong, and not observe something and look at it as being wrong or bad or good or right. I just look at it and think it just is, right? Um, it's just the easiest way for me to deal with this world of duality, because everything's duality. It's wrong, right, left, right, up, down, black, white. There's an opposite to everything. That's duality, and that is important for our learning. Um, how would we know what was good if there wasn't anything that wasn't bad? How would we know what's down if we didn't know it was up? So, beyond labeling, I want to get to a specific label, healing. Healing, what I've seen from my work with people and work with myself, is that healing could become a trap, because healing is such a vague word. When someone says, I'm going for healing, well, what are you healing? And they could be like, oh, I don't know, something's there, it's bothering me, and I can't point it out. And you go to a counselor, or you go to a psychiatrist, or you put on meds, or you do the alternative and you go to a healing ceremony and work with plant medicine. And what's the outcome? Are you healed? How do you know if you're healed if you didn't know what needed to be healed? So, and it can become addictive. I've seen it with people who always are looking to heal something. And when you're always looking to heal something, you're going to be always creating something to heal. So I like to use the word shadow work. Shadow work is getting down to the nit and grit of it. It's pinpointing it. It's you start by identifying your triggers is a great start. Looking at Joe Schmo and saying, oh, he's an asshole. Look at him running around, treating people like shit. I don't like that guy. Well, now I have to stop and think, why is it triggering me? Is it simply because I don't like him going around doing that? Is that your final answer? That's my trigger? No, let's go deeper. Why is it bothering you? Why is it bothering you that Joe Schmo is being a dick to his friends? Why is it bothering me? Because instead of, me being unbothered, now I'm taking a spot up in my heart where I could use that spot for more love flow. But now there's something there, which is a dislike or hate or resentment, and that takes place. And that's why to forgive is important because you want to get that out. You don't want that to take up space. Think of us as a hard drive. We're not limited. We're not all you can handle. Our pipes get clogged up. Think about energy flowing from your feet out to your head, and let's think of a clear vessel. Perfect. Someone that's pure love, does not dislike nothing, nobody, no how. They got pure energy coming up and going through their chakras, and like a pipe, right? A clean pipe where water's flowing up easily. When you hate somebody, when you dislike somebody, when you think of it as something in that pipe, oil gathering up inside that pipe, restricting the flow of that water. That's your hate. It's important to forgive and release that, because you don't want to hold on to it. Release it so that you can clean your pipes, you can clean your aura, you can clean your chakras, you can get that flow going through naturally like it's supposed to, constant. So identifying the triggers, I don't like them. Okay, well, why don't I like that? Why don't I like that person, Joe Schmo, treating his friends like assholes? Well, that could be a tough one. That's where we got to dig deep. And for me, and I can only speak in my personal experience, is that when I saw Joe Schmo treating him like a dick, and I felt angry at Joe Schmo, and I dug deep, why does it bother me? I should just be able to ignore it and move on with my day and not let it clog up my pipe. Well, after some digging, I realized that I could be the same way. I have been the same way. There are days where I'm an asshole, I'm not proud of it. It's ongoing work. And so being able to identify the trigger and then understand why it's bothering me. And now that I realize why it's bothering me is because I am the same way, right? Because at this point in my life, I'm working on unity. I'm working on realizing that everything is opposites. Everything is, when you look at it from your ego, everything is separate. There is no oneness. When you're coming from your heart and you're viewing the world, you look at it as oneness. You look at everyone as other yous, mini-me's, The person up the road I've never seen before, he's just another character of me, with a different mask on. So in that way, I could practice being able to be non-judgmental towards people, because if I'm judgmental towards Joe Schmo for being an asshole, I am just judging myself for being an asshole. And now I could look at myself as being an asshole, and I could begin somewhere, because when you can pinpoint it and you can put a name on it and you can pull it out of you and bring it to the light, say, it's no longer a shadow, because you're shining light on what the issue is. And that's a small example. I mean, there's some deep things that, y'all out there go through, I go through, some personal things, deep traumas. So the importance of the labeling to me is critical. So I practice not using a lot of labels, but sometimes you have to. So in this case, I don't want to use the label healing. As much as possible, I would like to use the word shadow work, because shadow work gets down to the nit and grit, and I can ask questions if I want to help someone, do their shadow work. I'm not going to tell them what it is. I can ask them all kinds of questions so that they can discover it for themselves. Because if I tell them, this is what I did, and this is how you should look at it too, they might get there, but they are doing, there's a term out there they use now, spiritual bypassing, which means, you're getting from A through B, C, you're just jumping from A to D. You're at D now, and you feel like you've come so far. But B and C, you really didn't go through because someone told you how to do it. Instead of feeling it and actually living it, B and C, living the actual important parts, which is sitting with that uncomfortable feeling and learning it for yourself and coming to that realization, you skip that. So the most important learning is in B and C, where your soul grows the most, So you want to be careful with spiritual bypassing. There's another label, but again, we're going to use labels, but we're going to practice not using labels, but for me to explain the best I can to you, I'm going to use labels. So let's not spiritually bypass anything. Let's sit with that pain, that shadow. You got traumas from childhood, all kinds of traumas. You can't put your finger on one thing because it's layers. Like, think of an onion. You're peeling layers. And every layer you peel is a new layer, and you get down and down further and further and further, and you're pulling all these traumas off to get to the root, to the real trauma. A trauma that you probably forgot wasn't even there. From it could be childbirth, which is our first trauma, right? Being birthed, out through that birth canal, being divided from your life source and being slapped in the ass and getting injected with whatever, and they snip in the males. It's a traumatic experience, and it's one we don't remember, but it's still there. Just because we can't pinpoint it, it's still there. So we're going to peel the onions. A lot of us, when we feel this, we feel discouraged, or we feel depressed, or we feel this gloomy feeling today, and it comes and goes, and those days where you just feel down, we run from it, as people, as a whole. We use alcohol, we use drugs, we'll clean the house, we'll keep busy, anything to not feel that feeling that we're running from, and we're running from it, and it's running to us. So doing that, it'll always come back. You can avoid it all you want, but it'll come back full circle. It'll always come back in a circle until you deal with it. And the way to deal with it is sit with it. We're taught not to sit with it, but the truth is, sit with it. Sit with that feeling, meditate it, lean into it, feel it. And in your head, say, what are you? What are you doing? You're making me feel like shit. Like, what is this? Get to know it. Offer it love. Invite it. Come on, I can handle you. And then offer it love. A lot of the times, childhood trauma, it's that child in us that makes us feel uncomfortable, because that time, that thing happened when I was 5, 6 years old, still haunts me, so I try to avoid it. I don't want to think about it. Well, that's the child spirit in you, and it's always it's chasing you. Not because it's the boogeyman and it wants to put fear into you. It's because it wants love. It wants to reconnect with you and be part of you again, So think of it like, just your little self, your child self. coming up to you and say, "This happened to me. I need love. Help me." You're the older version now, right? You're the higher self to the 5-year-old. Give it love. Give him love, and sit with it. And it's never going to go away. It'll always be a part of you. But in that way, you are able to deal with it and not always run with it and be okay with it. And you will love being okay with it, which is great. It's great to say, I love that I can deal with this. So you're dealing with your shadow, and you're integrating that shadow back into you. You're exposing that shadow to the light. You're putting your finger on it, and you're naming it, and you're pulling it out and bring it to the light. I see you now. You're no longer a shadow. Integrate it back into you, because it'll always be a part of you. But now you can work with it, and now you can get on and continue with your life. You can continue peeling layers from the onion, whatever it is. But that's why I love the term shadow work, because it gets down to it. It's not just a vague thing. Oh, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go heal it. I hope you get my, I hope I made sense to you, and much love to you all, and have a great day.